So I'm now in the Kelham Island area of Sheffield, and people's probably heard of the Kelham Island Museum, which is an industrial museum. I apologise if I'm sniffling at all, but it's extremely cold today. No matter how many times you wipe your nose, it still happens. So there's some development going off here. I don't know what's going off there at the moment, but as you can see, that row of, I don't know if it was houses or looks like houses, but it looks also a bit industrial really. But this is certainly becoming the trendy area of Sheffield, if they don't kill it off with this lockdown. Well, would have been how Sheffield used to be in the past. It's also quite a student area now. I'm just going to go across the road to give you an idea of that. What they've tended to do is sort of blend in the new with the old. I think there's lots of microbreweries around here. You can see Kelham Island Brewery shop just there. Just move back to those flats. So as far as I know, then students' flats. It says capital accommodation. I wonder how much they're making out of students on that. So there, if you want any traditional beer, then you can see this is the entrance way to the Kelham Island Museum. And you'll find a massive steam engine in there, which fires up a number of times a day. As you can see now, within the actual museum area, there's all flats around here. See just there a steel crucible. This just shows you the development that's gone off around here, blending the new student type or modern accommodation with the old industrial heritage. This is the part of Sheffield they should really be focusing on for me, is our industrial heritage. Just going to see if I can zoom right in on something over here, and I get a feeling, I think this is where the actual museum entrance is, and there could be a Bessemer converter. Now where that tall chimney is, and it says chimney house, I wonder if that's where the actual big engine is. Absolutely massive steam engine in there somewhere, which is well worth a trip round Kelham Island, because what you'll see is the working conditions of Sheffield folk in the 1900s. Sort of the average age for someone to survive was about 30 years old. They look like old men at 30. Just shows you what grueling conditions they actually lived in. There you can see the Globe Steelworks, famous Sheffield name from the past. I think that's a dead company. Bit of street art here. It seems to be becoming quite a thing in Sheffield, street art now. Find it all around the city, I love it. Back in the 80s when they trashed our steel industry, the music evolved in Sheffield and we had the Human League, M17, Def Leppard. Pulp came out at that time as well, even though you didn't hear about them too much later. But there was, on top of those bands, there was hundreds of other Sheffield bands around at that time. It was a real resurgence when people lost their jobs. They looked at other ways of making money. And there was definitely a resurgence of pop culture in Sheffield at that time. Human League ended up #1 in America with Don't You Want Me Baby, or whatever it was called. I might have got the words wrong, but anyway, so there's another part of the actual brewery there. Just over there it says Wharf Bar. Pretty certain this area will survive in its entirety. It's too trendy not to survive. Now, I was wondering where the Fat Cat was. It's strange because back in the 80s, before the football, I used to come in for a pint in the Fat Cat and didn't even realise it was just here. So we just took things for granted back then. But this is really Sheffield how it used to be, blended in with modern apartments. Really can't see the Fat Cat not reopening. It's just too trendy. Usually has various different beers in there. Just going to see if I can find anything else around the corner. What was once a very industrial part of Sheffield's now very deindustrialised. You just see the sort of places that used to be around here. This is Cornwall Works. Now this has been modernised, it looks like accommodation, but that'll be an old Sheffield name. But these areas we took for granted back in the 80s. While Sheffield still had an industry. You can see there's more street art along here. I don't think there was enough focus on this in Sheffield when they redeveloped it. I mean, they have in this area, but you can keep the old and blend it in with the new like they've done round here, which I think is fantastic. Somewhere called Ebenezer Place. If anybody knows anything about it, please comment. It's quite busy in this area at the moment as well. Seeing a lot of footfall compared with other parts of Sheffield and where I live. There's heritage all over this area, it's steeped in history. So I wonder if that's any cousin to Ebenezer Scrooge. Certainly got a Scrooge in government at the moment, locking us down on fake science. So I absolutely love this area of Sheffield. You can see the number of people around here. Old industrial places all over the place. Trying to zoom in on that one right down there for you. You can see like a green sign on it.
Hello.
Hiya, you're right. See the artwork round here. It's more like an art area now. See another interesting building just round the corner. My hands are frozen at the moment, absolutely freezing. Showing -1.5 on the car when I left about 12 o'clock in the garage, but I think my thermometer's reading a bit low, so it was probably about 0 at 12 o'clock in the garage. There's another place here, famous old Sheffield name, Alfred Beckett and Sons. But one thing I found out is I've worked for a carbon management company back in 2006, and when I was working there, what I was doing is ringing up companies all around the country looking for selling our services, and what I found is that most companies were importing stuff. So like Richardson's knives in Sheffield, which have been a famous brand, were no longer manufacturing in Sheffield. So you might see Richardson's still in Sheffield, but all that manufacturing's not actually happening in Sheffield anymore. And I'm absolutely sure it can be done cost effectively in this country rather than doing it abroad. So that's another one called the Green Works. I mean, just look at the architecture on that. These people made money, and you can see it. So they could manufacture things for a decent price and also make money out of it. So all I'm going to say is I think our manufacturing companies are greedy if they're not making money and wanting to then do it abroad to make even more money. Just see this area. I'm a bit shocked though that I'm just seeing about 4 or 5 people litter picking. I wouldn't have thought with the type of people that live around here that you'd need litter pickers like that. But industrial buildings are everywhere around here. What I'll do is come back in the summer when it's warmer, when it's reopened, and give you're an even better idea, but this gives you a taste of the Kelham Island area. And if you're from the Sheffield area, I really recommend you getting down here, because number one, you're allowed to go out and exercise. There's no limit on how far you're going to drive to exercise. And also how long you can stay out. So look at that. Probably not great working conditions, but the architecture of some of these places, they could manufacture things a lot cheaper than they do nowadays. I know there's inflation taken into account, but I think products are very overpriced now and they don't last very long either. But at the same time, they spent money on the architecture. So this one looks like it's gone by the wayside. Restaurant, bar, all boarded up. Doubt that'll reopen, but then I could be wrong. It's a trendy area, so it'll probably get scooped back up by somebody else once this lockdown's over. More modern flats. But I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things around here. Cliff Works here. What I would have liked to have shown you is some back streets. How they used to be in Sheffield when the houses were back to back, but I don't think I'm going to find it today. I stumbled on it in the past when I've walked around here and took a photograph of it. Lovely areas to sort of live now. But like I said, they were probably a bit grim working in these areas. Then you can see the cobbled streets. You don't really even need to go in the museum. Going in the museum's a bonus. You can see the history around here. Just love these cobbled streets. I've never actually really walked around the area. I've just basically come to Kelham Island Museum and gone straight into it, so never really appreciated what's around here. But what made me think is when the referendum was on, I used to come to a business round here to pick up leave boards. And I noticed there was a lot more to this area than I thought. But this is real Sheffield industrial side that we should be proud of. Sheffield was built on this. Where there's muck, there's money. Like I said, some of these places were probably grim to work in. And I suppose when you reminisce and back and look at it now, you think, we're missing something, but I'm sure it wasn't as great to live in as it's now being made to look. Another one here, George Barnsley and Sons. I'm sure these places have not been used for years. But I know that when I was picking up the vote leave boards back in 2016, I drove up a road from just round here and I've never seen so many old cutlery works. I think I'll leave that one to another day when it's a bit warmer. But thankfully, Sheffield Council's not trashed this area of Sheffield. So I think they've actually done more damage to Sheffield culture than the Germans managed in the Second World War when they bombed us. Sheffield was hit twice. Once the Germans destroyed the city centre, and then the next time they destroyed a lot of the East End, hit the East Eckler works. But I think there was only 2 main bombing raids in the Second World War of Sheffield, but in those 2 bombing raids 600 people lost their lives, thousands of houses got damaged, and the Marples Hotel, 70 people lost their lives in one go in there. They'd gone in the cellar to escape it, and there's a direct hit by either a £500 or a £1,000 bomb on it. They got a few people out the next day, and they estimated there were 70 people in it at the time, and they were just buried and left to rest in there as far as I know. So we're now coming back to the ring road. But this is looking like another interesting building I just want to show you here. Let's see if I can find anything else around the back of here. But it really surprises me that Sheffield Council's developed this area of Sheffield to keep the old, and then trashed a lot of the rest of the city. We're just on the ring road just there, taking you down to the football ground. There used to be steelworks all the way down Penistone, sorry, not Penistone Road, yeah, Penistone Road. Next to the football ground there used to be stamping presses and all sorts along there. Used to be a hive of activity. Doubt you're going to see much along there anymore. There's another grand old building. Like I said, these people could manufacture for a reasonable price. At the same time, these buildings must have cost a fortune. So I wonder what this interesting building was, and it's called the Globe Works. Really famous old company. It's called Green Lane. If you want to know what Attercliffe looked like when it had an industrial past, it's like a snapshot in time. I say these certainly make trendy living accommodation and small business places. We're back up to the Warncliffe Works, so I'm going to have just another little scout round here, see if I can see anything else. There's a museum in the northeast at Beamish, I think. We're actually not actually in a museum here, you're on the streets of Sheffield. It's like being in a big museum. So I'll leave my video today. That's a taster of the Kelham Island area of Sheffield. I hope it encourages you to get out and actually pop down here and have a look. So I'll speak to you again later. Bye. Alright, I've just come across another area I didn't know was here, so I might as well show you. Pretty certain this must be River Don. So River Don flows into Hillsborough down the side of the football ground. You can see the back end of the museum round here and the new flats. But this is the real Sheffield. Sheffield, we all remember back from the 60s. I'm hoping I'll find something else interesting down here. Just think about the number of people that are employed in these buildings. I think Sheffield lost about 60,000 jobs during the 80s. Totally hammered the city. I think that one bit the population of the city had been about, I think it was about 570,000 at its peak in the 50s. Then as they start to de-industrialise, it dropped down to about 510,000. Well, it's increased to 530 and now it's up to 568. But that's been driven by immigration into the city, exploiting people on minimum wages, driving the wages down because you've got a massive pool of labour. This looks a lot less trendy. Look, this looks more like it's just come out of the industrial age. I'm sure this area will all be developed now as well. There's more street art around here. Behind where I worked at HSBC on Tenter Street, it was very much like this, but what they've just done is trash a lot and just built student accommodation when, like I said, I'm not against progress, but like you can see here, you can make this into good accommodation or small business type units. So I think that's me done for today anyway. So there's a lot more around here I don't know about, and I'll explore this over the coming weeks and months. See ya, bye.